and welcome back to another look at what is for dinner. Here are some things that we've been having around here lately that have been really tasty. And I feel like this week we have a pretty good selection of things for you. Kind of a little bit of a variety. And I always hope that it brings you some ideas and inspiration, because let's be honest, sometimes we can get in a kitchen rut, a dinner rut. What do we make? We've made all the things. Nothing sounds good, all those things. So I hope that this video brings you some ideas and inspiration. If you hear a little bit of something in the background, I am making some salmon patties right now. They're cooking right here beside me. And if you stay to the end of the video, I'm gonna show you sort of a, well, okay, so I've already showed salmon patties here on my channel several times, but I thought I would just do a fresh little take on the salmon patties, just in case that you're new or you haven't seen that before, or haven't made it before and you're a little bit interested in that. Maybe I will show you at the end how I made these salmon patties today. So stay tuned for that at the end. Otherwise, I think that's all I have to say right now, you guys. Thank you so much for being here as always, and we will get into the video. And then just leave me a comment down below if there's anything that sounds really good to you that you see today, or any tips and tricks that you have for me on anything that you see today. If you want to share something in the comments, I'd like to read it. All right, you guys, let's get into the video.
All right, how about this good looking grilled meat? This is actually Mother's Day, and my husband James decided that he was going to grill up a bunch of meat and we would just have a few sides to go with it, and that would be Mother's Day. So we mamas didn't have to do any cooking or much cooking at all. So it was James and me, our sons and our girls and the littles, and James' parents. So they made some sides to go along with it, which I forgot to film all of it, but I'll tell you all about that in a second. But first off, I'm going to show you here what I made. Now, we've talked a time or two about my yellow kettle that I got from my mom. My mom had this whole set in the 70s, and she actually gave this to me when I got married, and she gave me the whole set. Now I only have a couple pieces left, and the only one I use is that large yellow kettle, but it's cast aluminum, and for the most part everyone says aluminum if it's still in, you know, good shape. A vintage aluminum kettle is still good to use, but I don't know, I'm thinking about retiring it. I know some of you probably thought maybe it had lost some of its coating or something like that. No, it is a cast aluminum kettle, and this is how it's always looked, but it's, you know, it's been used and loved through the years. But you can let me know down in the comments below whether I should retire my yellow kettle and just keep it for fun. Let me know down in the comments, but let me show you what I made in that kettle. I made baked beans, and I love them so much. I used 2 cans of these Great Value Hickory brown sugar baked beans, and I love a very meaty baked bean. I don't always do it this way, but 95% of the time. So this is a pound of ground beef fried up with some onion, removed the fat from that, and instead of adding real bacon, which I love to do, I took a shortcut and just added in this whole pack of the real bacon pieces. That was just a shortcut for time. And so yes, I like the beef and the bacon in there. I'm using some of this chili sauce instead of ketchup because I had some, about a half a jar I wanted to use, and then I usually always add in some mustard, so I'm at the bottom of the jar of that. And I like to add in brown sugar, so I like a tangy but a sweet baked bean. Look at this tiny little thing of paprika. The smoked paprika, I just got that at Menards. It's literally so tiny, little container, so cute. I went in with some black pepper and garlic powder, and then gave these things a good stir. I don't measure with baked beans. I just make it the way I've always made it for years. And I usually use 2 of these large cans, sometimes 2 large ones plus 1 small of pork and beans, just depending on how many people that I want this to feed. But a pound of ground beef and some bacon in there, and like I said, a tangy sweet. It just always is the way that I prefer these the most. So I just browned up my meat in this kettle, gave this all a mix, and then I moved it to a baking dish and baked that in the oven. My daughter-in-law Abigail made a cornbread salad. My mother-in-law made her homemade potato salad that is so delicious, and we had caramel sundaes to go along with it. It was just a really delicious meal, and we mamas felt very spoiled. You can see quite a cookout with this meat here. It was delicious. I had really been wanting some Chinese food, Asian food, so this night that's what we had. So in the skillet here, I just diced up a large boneless skinless chicken breast, sauteed that, added in snow peas, mushrooms, and some zucchini. Next, after that was all done, I added in this Japanese style barbecue sauce. And before I did, I remembered I needed to add some onions. I love onions, so I put in a little bit of a red onion. And then I also decided I'm going to steam some broccoli along with my rice. So my rice steamer, you can do a little tray on top to do veggies. So I steamed my broccoli that way and added it in, and we just served this over top of that white rice that was steamed up. And I had bought a package of fresh pork egg rolls to make along with this meal. And you know what? Didn't even remember to get those out and cook them up. So, of course, while we're eating this meal, I'm like, oh my goodness, I totally forgot to cook the egg rolls. I have had a super lot going on lately, you guys, and I tell you, it's showing up in different areas. I'm just limping along here doing the best I can, but this was absolutely delicious, and I love the colors of fresh veggies like this. Just looks so yummy and healthy, doesn't it? So this was delicious.
Hey everybody, I'm making meatloaf today. I've got 2 pounds of ground beef in here. And I know this is going to seem very strange and very odd, but guess what? I'm putting all these tomatoes in here. This is fresh tomatoes, 3, but they were not good tomatoes. They were the tomatoes on the vine, and the texture of the tomatoes was so grainy, it felt like. Just not good for eating fresh, like on a burger or anything like that. And I hated to waste those and throw them out, and I was going to, because I was like, we can't eat it like this. But then when I decided I was making meatloaf, I just thought I would add those tomatoes in, just as they'll just be moisture, I guess. They'll probably cook down to not much of anything, and I'm okay with whatever it is that they do, okay? I just figured instead of throwing them out, I would put them in here and let this be just a little bit of moisture for this meatloaf. I'm also going to use this, so I don't have any breadcrumbs. I do have rice, I do have oatmeal, I do have crackers, which a lot of people use those type of things for their meatloaf, but I have also used this recipe, a recipe that includes the stovetop stuffing. And you use that as your sort of bread binder. What's great about that, you get all of these yummy seasonings too. So I'm going to use that in place of any sort of bread or crumbs or whatever. Then I'm going to add a couple of eggs, maybe a little bit more seasoning. I don't even think I'm going to add a green pepper today since I added the tomato. So a little bit of a different meatloaf than I normally make, but I think it's going to be fun. Not that much variation. All right, let's get in 2 eggs. Good old fresh farm eggs. I'm going to add in a couple more things. I'm going to add in black pepper. I'm going to add in some additional garlic powder. I'm going to add in paprika. Oh, there's not much left. And I think the last thing, I'm gonna go in with some of this Lowry's seasoned salt. I think with 2 pounds of ground beef, it could use a little bit more salt than it's gonna get from that stuffing mixture. Okay, I'm gonna get this all mixed up. We're trying a different kind of meatloaf today. And I'm just not in the mood to touch this cold meat with my bare hand today. So I'm gonna use this glove and get it mixed around real well. I just thought meatloaf sounded good. I haven't made a meatloaf, I don't know how long. And honestly, to be telling the truth, I probably make meatloaf maybe 4 times a year. We love it, but just don't make it super often. And I wouldn't say it's one of my special, whoops, let me get over there in the center, you guys. I wouldn't say meatloaf is one of my specialties either. It's good, but it's not like one of my, like, yeah, this is my best thing that I make. There we go. Okay. I think this one's gonna be yummy though. All right. I love green pepper and meatloaf too, but like I said, I put these tomatoes in here and I just decided, actually I don't even have a green pepper. I remember now I bought the multicolored peppers, so I probably have red, orange, and yellow, which would have been fine. All right, it's mixed up. Let's get it into our baking dish. This is way more than James and I need. I always just make a 1 pound meatloaf for us, but I am making a double today to share. I'm gonna take some to my parents if it turns out tasting good and share. Because I'm doing all of this already, might as well just throw in an extra pound of ground beef and a few extra ingredients that I'm already getting out and cutting up and so on and so forth. So very, very easy to double or triple or whatever you need to do with meatloaf. Okay, so much in here, it's not really a super good loaf shape, but a little bit, which is just fine if you spread it all out, but I'm gonna go like this today. All right, this is ready for the oven.
And here it is. I just put some ketchup, plain ketchup on the top. That lasts about 10 minutes or so. This was absolutely delicious. This is a meatloaf I was proud of. It tasted amazing. And look at these mashed potatoes. Those gold potatoes, yellow potatoes, they just mash up so well. So creamy and delicious. And I just made some green beans on the side. This was extra delicious. I was really glad I made this meatloaf. All right, I pulled out this bag of homestyle meatballs out of my freezer, and I'm going to use chili sauce and sweet orange marmalade to basically make like the grape jelly style or sweet and tangy meatballs, cocktail meatballs, that same thing. But instead of using grape jelly, I'm using this orange marmalade, and I've seen recipes like this in the past. In fact, I may have even done this before. I kind of feel like I have. I'm not sure. But anyway, I used the about a half a jar of the jelly, half a jar of the sauce, because I just had 1 bag of these meatballs. But you can kind of put however much sauce that you want. But this was plenty, and I decided to use this Pampered Chef. I think it's called the Rock Crock, if I'm not mistaken. I decided to do that and just do these in the oven. I've done them on the stovetop and in the crock pot, but this day I was taking these to church, and so I just did these in the oven. They were absolutely delicious, easy and quick, and so flavorful. All right, now we're moving to the pink salmon portion of today's video. As I said in the beginning, I'm going to show you sort of a little more step by step I did a long time ago, and then I've showed just little portions here and there of salmon patties, but a little more step by step today, in case that you are new to making salmon patties or maybe never made them. So I buy the salmon patties, the salmon in the can. It's got the bones, the skin. It took me probably 2 minutes total to get this ready to go as far as getting all of the skin off and the bones off. So I just use my fork to pull off the skin, and then look at there. That's the whole like vertebrae section. And then I just again use the fork to kind of just pull down across those little tiny bones, and they come right out. Now, some people say they don't take them out. They leave them in for extra nutritional value, but I do take them out. Now, I don't obsess over the fact that maybe there are a couple in there that I miss. Not at all. You do not even know they're there. But I get out, especially the big section like you saw me take out, and I like to remove all of the skin. And then I'll just use my finger and kind of run across, and you can feel anything that maybe you missed with your fork. And it just breaks apart easily, just like this, you can see. So I drain off my liquid, and then I just start taking off the skin, taking out the bones, and just keeping the salmon itself. All right, once I got this all done and I moved it to my bowl, which already had some chopped onions in the bottom, I went ahead and started on can number 2. And like I said, this is a really quick and very easy process. It's less expensive to buy the salmon that has the bones and things. You can buy it without. It just costs a little more, and I don't mind removing it. Okay, into my bowl went 2 eggs plus eggshell. Got to get that out of there. And then I'm adding in salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Next, I'm going to go in with about a half a sleeve of saltine crackers. I don't follow a recipe for this. I just make it how I'm feeling in the moment. So you can use different binders. You don't have to use saltine crackers, but that is what I am using today. About a half a sleeve. Crush those up really fine. And then I like to add in some mayonnaise or some Miracle Whip, another little binder, and it adds some flavor and some moisture. Today I'm going in with Miracle Whip, and I'm going to give this all a good mix. Check these out. Got such a nice golden brown. It looks a little darker on camera than it was, but just a nice golden brown. So absolutely delicious. I could not wait to get one of these out of the pan, break a little piece off, and taste test it. It was perfect. It needed no salt. It needed nothing. These were so good. I packed up some of these and took to my parents with me when I went, and they loved them as well. Salmon patties for the win. And the last thing I'm showing you today, I also made this for Mother's Day. This is the white chocolate covered Puffcorn. In wintertime, some people call this snowman poop, but I'm telling you it's good anytime. So you take 1 bag of the butter flavored Puffcorn, and you use half of a block of the almond bark. Melt that in the microwave and stir this until it's coated really, really well. It is so quick and so easy. For a half a block of that almond bark, it takes 1 minute and 30 seconds in the microwave. I do it for 1 minute first and stir. Last 30 seconds, I stir it when it comes out and make sure every little bit is melted. Literally pour it over top of this Puffcorn and stir it. And you work pretty quickly, not life or death quick, but once you pour it on, work pretty quickly to get everything covered. And it covers that amount perfectly. And then I just pour it out on a wax paper. you know, lined whatever, a pan, or put the wax paper on your counter, pour it out, spread it out to a single layer. It doesn't have to be perfect, but kind of spread it apart here so it can start drying and that chocolate can start setting. I like to go in with some sprinkles most of the time if I have something that's seasonal. And I made a big batch of this. Actually, I made, I think, a quadruple or a 5 times batch of this, and I gave little goodie bags of this away. My daughter-in-law Abigail mentioned not too long ago, you know, I was thinking about that puffcorn covered with white chocolate. That is so good. And as soon as she said that, I thought, you know what? I am making this and giving it away as little Mother's Day treats. And that's exactly what I did. I'm just warning you, it's addictive. It's hard to stay out of, but it is so quick and easy to make this. It is an absolute winner snack anytime you make it.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Y'all are the very best. I appreciate you so much. Your comments down in the comment section are just so much fun to read every week. Y'all are the sweetest. You encourage me. I appreciate you a bunch. Some of you especially just leave the sweetest comments, and I appreciate that so much. And if you haven't subscribed, like I say each time, I'd love to have you subscribe. It's free. Hit the subscribe button. If you want to turn on the notification bell, that will notify you when I have a video up. And we are slowly inching our way and trying to make it to 15,000 here, and I would love to do it sooner than later, and you can help me by subscribing. All right, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time. The good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Bye, everybody.